Hi everybody, and welcome to another edition of Bengal Magazine. We've got a terrific show for you today. We're going to start with men's hockey, and Nick Carriere joins us. Nick's bringing along Kevin Carr, his outstanding senior goaltender. And then we're going to talk a little track and field with Eugene Lewis and his star sophomore, Sasa Vann. And then Brent Ford, our facilities coordinator. We have sectional basketball coming up, and Brent's in charge of that. He's going to talk about what it's like to set up the arena. We're going to have our next installment of Joes versus Pros. We've got our Take 5 with the Bengals, and of course the Tim Hortons Athlete of the Week. So a big show. Stay with us. We'll talk hockey right after this.
Hi, my name is Kelly Cal. I am a senior on the women's basketball team. I'm from Kingston, New York, which is about an hour north of New York City. My favorite food is burritos, and I like to go to Moe's Monday with all my teammates. And my favorite show to watch on television is Shameless. It's on Showtime. The number one thing I like to do at Buffalo State is hang out with my teammates. The number one thing on my bucket list is to become a karaoke champion because I love to sing.
All right, we're joined now by Nick Carriere of men's hockey, and Nick's bringing along Kevin Carr, the outstanding senior goaltender. And guys, welcome. Nick, we've got about a week left in the regular season. It's been kind of a grind and moving into the playoffs, but all that said, do you like the place, quote unquote, where your team is right now?
Depending on what place we're talking about in the standings, or I think it's probably you're looking more for where we're at as a group and kind of moving towards the end of the season. And I like it. I think we faced some adversity. We've had some games. Our conference is just very tight competition every time we suit up. So I think we're just trying to make sure that we bring our best effort and play the game that we want to play, and play the game the way that's going to help us win. And that's something that we've just kind of we've been grinding towards it, and we're still looking to get that as consistently as possible.
Since you've been here, the playoffs seem to be a common theme now. The Bengals are in the playoffs. What's it going to take, do you think, to get to that next step? In the playoffs, in the semis, championship, winning. What's it going to take? Consistency is the name of the game for us. We've been here. We've hosted playoff games. We made it to the semifinals, and we need to make that next step. And that was our goal moving forward. We like to put goals down on paper that are reachable goals and that are realistic goals. And for us, it was not only just making it to the playoffs, not only just hosting a playoff game, but winning that semifinal round and getting a chance to play for the championship and go to the tournament. But it's consistency. We talked about early on having the consistency in our games that are the non-conference games. And I think we've had some good wins against non-conference opponents, but there's also been some letbacks, letdowns with some of those opponents as well. And again, all good learning experiences, and you hope you go through them and you learn from them. And, absolutely. And with 9 seniors on our team, we talked about it in our tie last Friday against Fredonia in the locker room after the game. It was just, hey guys, you know what we got to do. You know that we need to talk on the ice and we need to play a certain way. But at this point, it's whether you guys decide whether we want to do this or not. It's not going to be X's and O's. Well, you mentioned consistency throughout your answer, and the guy next to you has given that to you over the past few years. And Kevin, you look at the statistics and the record book here, and I'm wondering, you came on board about 4 years ago. If I was to tell you then that you will hold every single Bengal goaltending record by the time you leave, what would you have told me?
Probably you're crazy. At the time, I was just trying to make a college hockey team. Yeah. I was playing junior hockey, and I was just I was looking for a chance. Yeah. I was looking for a chance to prove myself, and thankfully, Coach here has given me that opportunity, and Buffalo State has given me that opportunity. Well, not only has he given you the opportunity, he's given you every opportunity, it would seem like. I look at the statistics this year. You have played every single minute but 36 of the entire season. That said, and considering the competition that is in this conference, is it a grind on you? Does it get to the point where, boy, I could use maybe a little break, or is it something that you just gravitate to? I think as a hockey player and as an athlete, you're always wanting to strive for more. Okay. And being given those opportunities like I have been, I've been thankful to have those opportunities and been really lucky. I've worked hard to to get to where I'm at right now, and I feel like you know, you always want to just strive for more.
Right.
And like I said, as an athlete, you want to keep playing.
Right.
And you want to showcase yourself every night. And thankfully, I've been given the opportunity.
And he really has showcased himself and really helped his team. Do you think about this workhorse that's in net? Do you sometimes go, maybe not tonight, the puck, maybe the puck, I'm going to give the puck to the other goaltender, but it's just full steam ahead?
You know, over the years with Kevin and, you know, Kevin came into a situation where we had basically openings for the #1 spot. And Kevin came in with another freshman and really just outcompeted him and won the job. Okay. The way we've looked at it over the years, and this year no different, is just from a week to week and from getting it done on the ice and off the ice and being ready, but mainly on the ice during practice week and during games. Is he getting it done? And we keep statistics as to which goaltenders are letting in more goals, and you know, Kevin's our guy, and it's not just because he's the horse, it's because he's the guy that's going to help us win.
There you go.
And whether it's a defenseman, a forward, we try to make those decisions, you know, pretty consistently across the board. So if they're effective consistently during the practice week, then they're going to be the guy that helps us Friday night, and then based on what happens Friday night, we'll see if they get the opportunity on Saturday.
Great answer. I want to go off a little bit to the Olympics and hockey because it's very big right now. We've got a couple minutes left. There was an epic shootout, Russians versus Americans, Kevin, and I think it went 8 rounds. And I'm kind of curious before the Americans won, but as you're watching something like this, sir, you've been in a shootout this year once in a tournament, you told me off camera, 8 rounds. What's your strategy as a goaltender on these shootouts?
You want to take time and space away from the shooter. Okay. Typically, as he's starting to come in, you start to back in, you judge his speed. So if he's coming in slow, typically you back in slow. Okay. If he comes a little faster, then you need to match his speed. So usually about a stick length, stick and a half length, depending on how fast he's going, is depending on your depth. Okay. And you want to make sure that you don't make the first move. So you're patient, waiting for him to make the first move, and then you can go off that.
I'll remember that next time he's on a shootout
on
Tuesday morning. but you know, we have less than a minute left right now, Nick. But I'm curious. You know, there's a great rivalry, the Russians and the Americans, and yet really the great rivalry is the Canadians versus the Russians, going back to the Summit Series, et cetera. And I know you're just a young kid, but what was it like growing up in that environment with those type of series and the Canadians versus the Russians?
Huge. I think you got two nations that are just so prideful of their history with the sport, and especially being Canadian, and you know, I remember being in Canada for the gold medal game against the U.S. 4 years ago, and you know, just being in a local pub in Toronto, having everybody in the pub singing "Oh Canada" after they won the medal. I got goosebumps just thinking about it. So it's a lot of fun. Honestly, the teams involved in the medal rounds they're all great teams, and it should be an awesome.
And it's great hockey. It's just super to watch. Gentlemen, thank you very much for being on the show. Best of luck to you as you close the season and into the playoffs.
Thank you.
We're going to take a quick break, but before we do, how about another installment of Joes versus Pros?
Hello, in this installment of Pros versus Joes, we're going to the track and field program. Track and field program at Buffalo State has written a storied history over the last several years. A number of SUNYAC champions, All-Americans, and even NCAA Division III national champions. Our pro today, Cory Cox, a junior All-American and SUNYAC champion long jumper. Our Joe, Chris Hillman, also has a storied resume in jumping. I once saw him jump over a puddle. Our first jumper, our Joe, Chris Hillman. First attempt on your ready, Chris. The way it works in long jump, we measure from the back part of the athlete that lands in the sand. So 14 feet 10 inches for Chris's first jump, plus 4 feet gives him 18.10 as the distance to beat. And our pro, Cory Cox, an All-American long jumper, his first attempt. $18.10 was the score to beat. 23 feet even on Cory's first jump. Chris Hillman's second jump, 23 feet even is the score to beat. Chris gets the 4-foot head start, so his jump needs to be 19 feet. 16.9 plus the 4 feet advantage. 20 feet 9 inches, not enough to beat our champion, our pro, Cory Cox, who still has one jump to go. 22 feet 5 inches. The champion jump, the first jump by Cory Cox, 23 feet, and our pros remain undefeated.
Well, congratulations are going out to Cory Cox, the Tim Hortons Athlete of the Week. The junior from Rochester had 2 big victories last weekend at the Armory in New York City. The health and wellness major took first in the long jump with a jump of 7.15 meters. That is 4th longest in Division III in the entire country so far this season. And then he also won the 200-meter dash in 22.14. So congratulations going out to junior Cory Cox from the track and field team. He is this week's Tim Hortons Athlete of the Week. And funny, we are now joined by track and field. Eugene Lewis, the head coach of the men and women, the program, and also Sasa Vann, the sensational sophomore, joining us. And Coach, I'm kind of curious how you pick and choose these invitationals. Last weekend it was in New York City at the Armory. Why go there, and who's there?
Well, normally what we typically do is, even before the season starts, we always try to look at facilities. Okay. Because some facilities are better than other in terms of surfaces and so on and so forth. With the Armory, is not only, you know, state renowned, but nationally renowned as one of the faster tracks. A lot of professionals train there and run there. It was an opportunity for us to get on a bank track. This is the first time in my coaching history that the Division III National Championships will be held on the bank track. Okay. So it was an opportunity for our kids to experience a bank track, partake in competition with what we would call mid-major Division I's, Lafayette, Ryder, schools of that sort, and have a good opportunity to qualify for nationals.
Interesting, and it's called an invitational. What for the lay guy like me? What does that mean? Somebody has to invite you to come?
Absolutely. what happens is they look at your team in terms of last year's results and then the progress of this current season. The purpose of that is trying to fortify competition in a way that everyone can have a competitive opportunity, and there's not too much disparity between talents of teams. Okay. So when you get invited to a Division I invitational, is a pretty good sign that as a program overall, you have enough talent to be there. Yeah,
I was about to say they're not looking at the lowlights, they're looking at the highlights there.
Absolutely.
Well, speaking of invitationals, one that was invited was Sasa Vann, and Sasha, as a sophomore, you were on the show last year, but let me look at my notes. I want to make sure I get this right. As a sophomore, school record holder in the 4x400. Which is now 12th best in the country, 355.46, and the 400, 56.82, which is 7th best in the entire country right now. You are a sophomore. Is this surprising you? Is it where you think you should be right now? Are you ahead of the curve, maybe behind the curve? Because I know you're a very confident young lady.
I believe this is where I need to be.
Okay.
And I think that working towards nationals is something that I want, and in that first interview I said that I wanted to be an All-American, and being 7th in the nation and wanting to be an All-American, that is definitely where I need to be.
Now, you said this is where I need to be. In terms of continuing the progress toward the nationals, explain what you meant by that.
Exactly. Holding your place, like you said, I have 7th place right now, and every week someone can run faster, and they take top 12, so continuing to bring my time down and hold my position is something that's required.
You told us last year as a freshman, when you were a record holder, that didn't surprise you. It doesn't sound like any of this surprises you. Would you say that's correct?
I think that is correct because of my dedication. I love this sport. It's everything that I do. I come to practice. We work hard. We train hard, and
the results are there.
Right. Correct.
Talk to me about her. Last year, your assistant coach said she is going to become the face of the program. Talk to me about that comment, and when you look at a runner like Sasha.
Well, the big thing with Sasha is that Sasha came to us with a set of expectations that were quite lofty. At the same time, they were very realistic. So as coaches, we felt like it was something we can achieve. A lot of times we tell the athletes, you know, you have to put it in your hands in terms of how bad you want it. And she's demonstrated that from day one. The reason why we felt like she was going to be the face of our program is because she's bringing an energy, an attitude, and a holistic part to our program, from the academic piece, so on and so forth, that you kind of want to model everybody behind. How about that? She's definitely a leader. She's a role model, probably more by example. But the biggest thing is that we got what we were recruiting. She's definitely what we were looking for.
Fantastic. Now, there were some great results down at the Armory. Why don't you fill us in on Cory and Rich specifically?
Yeah, well, Cory Cox and Richard P. Now, obviously, Richard is an individual that doubles in 2 sports here. Richard is a tremendous athlete. When he came out of high school, we knew he was going to be a great football player and a great track and field athlete. And those guys are going along the course of doing exactly what was expected of them. They're performing at a high level. We knew they would be, in their event groups, some of the better individuals from a national perspective. And what I'm most impressed about Richard and Cory is their consistency from the standpoint of they've continued to get better, but they've also always competed at a very high level. So our expectations for them is, you know, the sky's the limit.
Well, and just to fill in again, Cory Cox, his long jump is 3rd longest in the nation so far. Rich Pete, the triple jump, 6th best in the country right now. We've got a couple minutes left. It's time now to start focusing in on the big meets per se. We have RIT this weekend, and then SUNYACs and then Nationals. So what's the strategy first from a coaching perspective?
Well, the big thing with RIT is we're trying to make sure all of our individuals are qualified in the events that they're capable of being qualified for. To compete in the SUNYAC championships, you have to have a particular performance level. So we try to clean those things up. We really don't get into the national mindset until after our conference championships because, you know, SUNYAC conference championships requires a true team effort. We have great teams in our conference, Cortland, Geneseo, that I wouldn't say we're on the even par, but each year, you know, there's going to be top-notch competition. And so we're really homing our skills to really prepare for SUNYAC championships. And once we accomplish that goal, we begin to look forward to that.
How about that? And from a student-athlete personal perspective, how do you approach this RIT meet?
RIT, like he said, we have to prepare for SUNYAC, and I think the best way for us to do that is to become more of a team and working together, really cheering on our teammates, making sure that everyone is able to get the marks that they want.
Wow. Well, Eugene, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Eugene, thanks very much for being on the show. And Sasha, best of luck to you and congratulations on 2 fabulous seasons. We're going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, we're going to go back in the sports arena and talk to Brent Ford, our facilities coordinator.
Hi, my name is Bradley Doyley. I'm a sophomore at Buffalo State College. My hometown is Brooklyn, New York. The reason why I love the game of basketball is because the heart I have for it. I love the game of basketball. When I'm done with college, I want to do sports management. My superstition before every game is I talk to my girlfriend, Tashona. She always encouraged me, give me good words so I could play hard and do what I have to do to get the win. And one thing I do besides play basketball, I play the piano.
Well, I'm in the sports arena right now, joined by our facilities coordinator, Brent Ford. And Brent, let's take a look around. This is basically your home away from home, isn't it?
Yes, it is, Tom. A lot of events going on in here. I'm here for pretty much everything, so it's pretty much away from home.
In fact, I think I saw your sleeping bag in your office the other day. But we have a couple of big weeks coming up. Sectional basketball, is that correct? Who is coming in here to play?
We have sectional basketball, Section 6, which is local high schools. They'll be here for the next 2 weeks. We have boys and girls playing here. So starting on the 24th through March 8th, we will have both sets of games.
And then while we're playing basketball, guess what? Buffalo State also has some great spring and winter teams still going on. So that must be difficult to coordinate.
Yeah, it's quite a fiasco to get everybody settled and keep everybody happy. So we do have quite a bit of setting up and breaking down day to day to provide space for our teams as well as the rentals.
Well, you look at this place and it's absolutely incredible. It's huge, and you would think you would not have that kind of problem, but you do. So let's take a look around. It's the bleachers are all set back. There was obviously a practice in here last night. You're getting ready for sectional basketball. What is the timetable for you getting ready? What goes first, second, and third?
We start a contract early in the summer. Fall, we stay in contact with our contacts from the sectionals, but on a day like Monday, we have track practice from 12 to 2:30. At 2:30, we have to start pulling out all the bleachers. Have a crew of probably about 4 students, and myself, I'll jump in. Just makes it quicker to help them out. We'll pull all the bleachers out. Probably takes about an hour, hour and a half. Luckily, I can pull things out like benches and the scorer's table earlier in the day, which I'll do just to cut down on time.
So let me interrupt you there. So before the bleachers come out, we have the press table with the advertising on it. That's what you're talking about, and that's where the scorers sit and the public address announcers?
Yeah, I will definitely pull that out earlier, but that's definitely what I'm talking about.
Okay. And then these bleachers come out. Any particular order, and how long does it take for, let's say, a set of bleachers to pop out?
We do it electronically. It takes a couple of minutes for them to come out. To put the railings and the steps in, it takes maybe about a half hour each section. It really doesn't matter what section we start with. More often than not, we start with the section behind you just because it keeps the straightaway open longer for our track team to practice if they go a little bit longer.
So the process in terms of the bleachers and the press table, that's probably an hour and a half, 2 hours to get them out and put the railings in?
Yeah, definitely.
Now, I notice the basket standards are up, but sometimes they're not. So let's say they're over at the side. What's that process like, and how long does that take?
The baskets don't take too long. They're fairly easy to put in. They're quite modernized compared to the old ones we used to have, but they take about 20 minutes to pop both in if you're experienced at doing it. I know I have students that have to do it, and to teach them, sometimes it takes them longer. So.
And this is an interesting story of where these came from. These are relatively new. Where did the basket standards come from?
We bought these 3 years ago. They were used at the women's regionals in Philadelphia.
The NCAA.
NCAAs. Apparently, Spalding uses baskets for their tournaments, and then they sell them after at a reduced rate, and that's how we got these. So kind of interesting where these came from.
Well, it's very interesting. They've probably only been used for maybe 8-10 games and some practices, and then they say, let's get rid of them. So we grabbed them up, and they're really well designed especially for somebody like you.
Yeah, definitely. Our older baskets that we had since 1991, since the building opened, were quite cumbersome and not modern like these. So these are a lot easier to move.
Yeah, not easily put up and down. So this is the arena. You're also in charge of the ice arena, which is next door. And then you're also in charge of Coyer Field, the football field. I know you get ready in lacrosse and soccer, I'm sorry. But on a game day for football, let's say it's a 12 o'clock game, what time do you show up and how long does it take to get the field and everything ready?
Actually, Jim Fowler's head of the ice rink.
Okay.
But everything else, home football day, I'm usually here about 6 a.m., start getting the field ready. We want to have everything set and ready before visiting teams show up. You just don't want to have an empty field and a team bus pulls in and they're looking at a field that's bare. Right. So about 6 a.m. takes me a couple hours just to get everything set, benches out, field set up. Definitely nice when it's done before a team comes in or before any spectators get here. So it takes a couple hours to get that ready.
And that's done in any type of weather, I may add. And then we have you obviously the game is played and then there's breakdown. So what time would you leave here on a Saturday?
On a Saturday home football, if we have a 12 o'clock game, I'm here at 6 a.m. and I leave about 5:30, 6 p.m. By the time everything's packed up, put away, cleaned up, moved.
Yeah. So it's just a simple 11, 12-hour day for you on a Saturday, away from your family.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, these are great facilities, obviously, the ice arena, the sports arena, Coyer Field, and people can rent. They're able to come in and utilize this in the summer, maybe a soccer club or whatever. How would they go about that process?
My email's on our website, also 716-878-6698. This year, as you know, with the construction project in Houston, has been difficult to get people in here just because of our own programming moving in here. But we do have wonderful cheerleading groups that rent from us, one of which is Empire West, which was formerly Hunter James Kelly. We also have Owatka Cheer, which is West Seneca Little Loop. They've been back year after year, and obviously sectional basketball and Section 6 track. Section 6 track is here a couple weekends during the winter as well.
And one more time, your phone number again?
878-6698.
So if you're looking to rent a facility, give Brent a call or go online at buffalostateathletics.com and find the rental page and come on up and use these great facilities. Brent, thanks very much for everything you do behind the scenes.
Thanks, Tom.
And that's going to wrap it up for this edition of Bengal Magazine. Thanks to Nick Carriere and Eugene Lewis from Hockey and Track and everybody in Instructional Resources. And we'll see you again in 2 weeks for more Bengal Magazine.